Hey, Eagle fans, before we start today's video, give me your one-word reaction to the Eagles' brutal loss yesterday. Jeez, the Washington football team. Give me your one-word reaction in the comment section right now down below. All right, so as we're going to do every single Monday after an Eagles hopeful win, but after Eagle losses as well, we're going to go ahead and grade the entire performance. Offense, defense, special teams, and individual grades as well as some news and rumors. So as you know, of course, 27-17. Philadelphia lost. An abysmal performance there in the second half. The offensive line was terrible. Carson Wentz struggled. The receivers weren't that great. The defense gave up points. A lot to go ahead and break into. We just have to first get out the way that the Eagles are a work in progress, and they are not at the point or the level that I was expecting them to be at, or that you were expecting them to be at here in week one. Quick bit of news notes here. DeSean Jackson is not hurt. He wants to make sure that everyone knows he is not hurt. We'll show you a tweet here in a second. But for everyone who was watching the football game yesterday, DeSean Jackson, even the announcers there on Fox, Kevin Burkhardt, was saying Jackson looks hurt. He played in about 50% of the snaps. He played in less snaps than the majority of the other wide receivers. He was limping at times, working on his shoulder at times, and yet after the game, he tweeted out that he's totally fine. You see the tweet here saying, hey, he's good, not a problem, didn't get hurt at any point, he is okay, which is at one point good, but at the other point being like, okay, well, why didn't you play then? Are you not capable of playing an entire NFL game? Were you tired? Were you banged up a little bit? Did the coaches not use you enough? There are a lot of question marks about DeSean Jackson, but the good news today is, I guess, is that he is not hurt and will hopefully be good to go. I mean, he should be a full participant in practice and be good to go there for week 2 against the LA Rams. All right, let's go ahead and get to some offensive grades, starting with just the Eagles' offense overall. Goodness gracious, a C-. Like I want to do a little bit lower, but the Eagles flashed some greatness there early on. Carson Wentz was absolutely fantastic early on in this football game. They protected him well. They didn't run the football well all day, but still, the deep ball to Jalen Reagor looked really good. Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert looked absolutely fantastic. This was 17-0. The Eagles' offense was rolling. How do you blow a 17-point lead, or how do you really dominate early and then not be able to find the end zone once in the entire second half? Penalties weren't a real problem. They were fine in the red zone, 1 for 2. Again, the rushing wasn't great. We didn't expect the rushing to be that good because Boston Scott got banged up. Clement's not that great, and they missed Miles Sanders. So overall, it's just a very, very head-scratching performance by the offense. So good and then so bad. I know the O-line was bad. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but overall, I think a C- is my offensive grade. What is your grade for the Eagles' offense, A through F? It's not an F, and it wasn't a D. It wasn't that bad. They still scored 17 points and looked good at times. So I'm going to go with a C-. Let me know what you guys think down below. The Eagle defense is much harder to go ahead and grade because on one hand, they played great, and they were fantastic, and they were almost pitching a shutout there until that final drive by Washington before the start of the half. I'm going to say a B-. There was a lot of good that happened in the Eagles' defense, and I know they gave up 27 unanswered points, but really the offense didn't help them out. The offense kept them there on the field for too long, and they couldn't convert on 4th down, so they were short fields. The defense overall only allowed 239 yards. Dwayne Haskins was not great throwing the football. The rushing game was not that good either. And overall, I thought Darius Slay looked good. The linebackers looked good. The D-line looked good. It was just more of the offense not having any sort of spark and the defense having nothing to feed on. Now, they still weren't good, and I think a B- is probably a little bit generous for them overall for my grade. You can't give up 27 unanswered points. You got to get off the football field. You got to be able to make a stop, and yet they were completely unable to. And just overall, man, this is tough. It's a tough Monday, right? You get so excited for the start of the NFL season, and then the Eagles were terrible, and it's like, oh my goodness. Special teams looked fine. Honestly, B+. Elliott missed that long field goal, which is kind of Carson Wentz's fault to get him in that situation. But if Elliott makes that field goal, then maybe some momentum starts to build. But I don't know if it guarantees they win. But the punt and kick covers look good. Let me just say that the punt and kick coverage looked really good overall, which is a positive note there for the Eagles. So there you go. We're going to go with a C-, a B-, and a B+ overall for the Eagles' offensive, defensive, and special teams units. Let's start with some player grades here. Carson Wentz. We will always grade Carson Wentz, and it wasn't good. It's C+ overall for Carson Wentz. Now, I understand your offensive line was terrible. I mean, the Eagles give up 8 sacks. What is Carson Wentz supposed to do? I broke down every single one earlier this morning, and I went and said, is this an offensive line issue or a Carson Wentz issue? And to me, 2 of the 8 sacks were Carson Wentz holding the football for too long. And let me just say this. Wentz has had 5 years to learn to throw the football away. Why does he keep trying to Michael Vick his way out of sacks and run for first downs? It's not going to happen. I know he's good at it, and he's better than most, but throw the darn football away. How many times did the Eagles have a second down and short, a third down and short turned into a third down and long, or a fourth down because Wentz took a sack? Again, I counted 2, but there could have been more, but really the offensive line was absolutely terrible. The problem is, again, that once Wentz starts to struggle, he has a hard time getting himself out of these ruts, out of these slumps. It's just like once things went downhill and he was getting sacked all the time, he started missing open receivers and not being able to move the football. So again, you can blame the offensive line a lot, and I will, but Carson Wentz has got to be better. A C+ here on the grade for his week 1. Do you blame him for those 2 interceptions, by the way? Let me know what you guys think down below. The receivers got to come back to the football, Reagor and Hightower, but at the same time, Wentz has got to make a better throw. Like, throw it out, you know? And then let me know what you guys think. Type Y down below for yes, type N down below for no. DeSean Jackson, next grade. We talked about him earlier. C-. If he really wasn't hurt, then maybe it needs to be an F. I think he's hurt. I know we talked about earlier how he's not hurt. You can't tell me there wasn't some underlying issue going on with DeSean Jackson, who was absolutely terrible in week 1. Barely played, and yet he was the one I've been saying all offseason long because people have said, hey, he looks great. He's burning defenders. He's beating Slay. Wins on him are They did nothing. I mean, DeSean Jackson did absolutely nothing. And so either he's hurt, he's too old, or for whatever reason, Doug Peterson did not get him up there in the offense, which if that's the case, then goodness gracious, we have way bigger problems than what we have right now. But Jackson gets a C-. He was MIA against a defense that he torched last year and should have been able to torch this year. A bright spot. Let's go to a bright spot. Jalen Reagor was a bright spot. I know that Reagor muffed that punt, and he kind of screwed up on the interception because he should have come back to the football, and he had a big drop, but at the same time, he still played very well. And a beautiful route there on the deep ball and flashed the speed and the big play explosiveness that Philadelphia was looking for. Philadelphia had not had a play of over 50 yards from offense since week 1 of last year. So they get week 1 of last year, the last time they had a deep ball like they connected there with Jalen Reagor. Now, again, the connection with Wentz has to be better. He cannot afford to have that interception. You got to be able to break that football up, even if it was a bad throw by Carson Wentz. Dropped a couple of passes across the middle as well. Overall, though, I think a positive showing for a receiver who, 1, is a rookie, which we said rookies will struggle, and 2, was kind of a late addition to the actual depth chart because of the injury he suffered going there in training camp. So really a decent day overall by Jalen Reagor. Excuse me. Next is the Jason Peters, but next is really the entire Eagles offensive line. I mean, D- overall, I think, for Peters. The Eagles O-line struggled all day, and I get that you're rotating bodies in and out, and I think Lane Johnson comes back next week and makes a massive difference, but you cannot watch Aaron Donald play football and expect the Eagles to be anything better than what they were this past week next week when they take on the LA Rams. I mean, I'm absolutely terrified for Carson Wentz. He needs better protection. They needed to run the football a little bit better, which wasn't a dominant running day overall. Peters specifically looked old. And there's a reason why Philadelphia did not want to re-sign him to play left tackle, and you saw it. I mean, he got bodied on a couple of those pass rushes that resulted in Wentz sacks. I know he's still a competent offensive lineman, but this idea that the perennial Pro Bowler, who's the first-team All-Pro at left tackle, is gone. This is a guy who's just going to have to hold down the fort and who looks like he's 38 years old out there. It was a bad day. It was a bad day overall for the Eagles offensive line. Subscribe, though, because we're going to cover the news and the rumors this week. Hopefully the Eagles are able to get healthy. I mean, we'll find out more probably this afternoon, right? After you watch this video, there will probably be updates on Vinny Curry, and there'll be updates on all the rest of the Eagles who were injured last week, who could be good to go this week. So we'll have plenty of updates for you guys, so make sure that you guys are subbed. And also, the deal on the Eagles 2020 gear is still there. So if you have not gotten your fresh Eagles gear in time for the start of the season, no worries. Chatsports.com/Eagles2020 has your guys' hookups for hoodies as it's getting colder. I got my hoodie last year, but I encourage you guys to jump on a hoodie this year because I'm telling you, when it gets cold, the Eagles hoodies are fantastic. They still have t-shirts, they still have jerseys, hats, a ton of great Eagles gear, all at a great price. Again, all authentic NFL gear as well. Chatsports.com/Eagles2020. Link is down below in the description box. Let's go 2 defensive players here because, again, overall the defense wasn't terrible. I thought Darius Slay played very well. I think he shadowed Terry McLaurin well enough to win, you know. And listen, McLaurin's a good wide receiver, and he got a couple of passes and a couple of plays there on Darius Slay. But everyone worried about the Eagles' curse of signing free agent wide receivers or free agent cornerbacks can rest well that Slay played well. Again, he looked like the cornerback the Eagles needed to play and needed to go ahead and sign. I think the secondary played well all day long. They just couldn't get stops in the end. And whether it was the lack of pass rush or whether I really feel like the defense today is not the problem, or yesterday was not the problem. I think the defense overall was good enough to win if Carson Wentz and the offense puts them in better situations than short fields, backed up, quickly back on the football field. I thought that Slay played very well. And again, McLaurin had a decent day, but not a great day overall. And McLaurin can really burn you. He's a good receiver in the National Football League. One other bright spot here is Nathan Gerry. I've been hard on Nathan Gerry all offseason. I said he wasn't a middle linebacker that I would want starting for my football team, and yet here he was. He played very, very well. He looked really good in the run defense. He looked more there and where he was supposed to be than not, right? There were a couple plays he looked a little lost, but overall I think Nathan Gerry gets a B-. He played very, very well. And again, the defensive unit, even though they gave up 27 straight points, I think played well enough to win. And if you're not pinned back, again, and maybe Carson Wentz scores some points to get some momentum going, maybe has a long-established drive, I think the defense probably buttons their ears back and gets this win. The defense is not a concern, honestly. I think you get back Barnett, you get back Hargrave. The defense is not a concern. It was the offense that was bad. So hats off to Nathan Gerry for looking pretty darn good. Okay, give me your overall grade for the Eagles' Week 1 loss to Washington down below in the comment section, A through F. I'd say it's a C-. It was a lot of bad. There was flashes of good there in the first quarter, and then a lot of bad after that. Both units need work, and so give me your guys' grade for the comment section down below. Don't panic too much. Listen, the Eagles got another shot at it next week, and then, 15 games left, so hopefully they figure things out. But big week here. They got to get to work and hopefully pull off a big win, and really an upset against the 1-0 LA Rams. Ultimately out for today here in the Philadelphia Eagles Now YouTube channel, obviously, with the grading video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thomas Mott signing off. To the rest of your day.